You ever have one of those days where you wonder if you just woke up in a bad sitcom, like maybe somebody's got hidden cameras and you're the punchline? Yeah, that's how it all kicked off for me. Standing in my own driveway, jaw slack, watching two police officers and the world's most dedicated. Can I speak to your manager, impersonator, trying to explain why locking my own gate was apparently a crime worth calling 911? And not just any gate, my gate on my land paid for out of my own blood, sweat, and 2 decades of architectural hustle. The woman's face was stuck in that permanent scowl you see in Yelp reviews, and her son, bless his heart, looked like a baked potato squeezed into a red hoodie. If you've never had the pleasure of being reported to the cops for minding your own business, well, let me tell you, you're not missing out. So let me back up a sec. I'm Marcus Holloway, architect by trade, peace seeker by nature, and apparently public enemy #1 for Willow Creek Estates HOA. All I wanted was a little corner of heaven, 5 acres of old woods at the very end of a cul-de-sac last wild patch, before suburbia swallows up the trees. Bought it off Mrs. Gable's sweet old soul, 60 years out there in her little cottage, who looked me dead in the eye over a glass of lemonade and said, "Marcus, this land's got a good spirit, but your fence is your friend. Be kind, but be firm." I thought she was talking about deer, not neighborhood politics. For a while, it was exactly what I'd dreamed. I built my sanctuary from the ground up, floor-to-ceiling windows, wraparound porch house, hidden way back from the road, quiet, private, everything I'd worked for. Only connection to the outside was a long gravel drive and a simple wooden gate, nothing fancy, just enough to say, "Hey, this is my spot." And right there was the problem, a narrow dirt path winding from my driveway to the prettiest little bluff you've ever seen running the full length of my property. The old owners let everyone walk it, kids, dogs, dreamers. But me, I let it slide for a bit. Who wants to be the guy who kills the mood, right? But you give folks an inch, and soon you're tripping over neon jogging shoes and picking up dog bags from your hydrangeas. One day I looked out and saw a full-blown picnic set up on my front lawn, blanket basket, family the works. My private escape was turning into a public park. Mrs. Gable's advice echoed in my head, so I drew a line. Commissioned a heavy wooden gate, matched the house, hung a big shiny private property, no trespassing plaque right on the front, locked it up tight. Let me tell you the sound that lock made. That was me claiming peace. Or so I thought. By the time the sun set, a cherry red SUV came flying up like it was late for a monster truck rally. Out steps Beatrice Weatherby, the queen bee of Willow Creek HOA. Hair helmeted powder blue tracksuit so tight it squeaked, the kind of lady who could file a complaint just by looking at you. Chad, her son, lumbered behind, more linebacker than man, breathing so heavy I thought he might pass out before he even hit the keypad. They stood there poking the gate, acting like I'd just put up the Berlin Wall. I strolled out nice, easy, no attitude, and introduced myself. "Hi, I'm Marcus. Can I help you?" Beatrice's eyes went wide, pointing her finger like she was about to accuse me of witchcraft. "You're the new owner," she hissed, skipping my handshake entirely. "This is my son, Chad, Architectural Review Committee." Chad grunted. Then Beatrice ramped up. "You can't just block off the community path. It's an amenity." I held my ground, said "Ma'am, with all due respect, this isn't a public path. It's my land." She scoffed, like I'd tracked mud on her white carpet. "This is a violation of HOA bylaws. You'll be hearing from our lawyers." And off she went, leaving a dust trail in Chad's glare for dessert. Sure enough, 2 days later, official notice from the HOA, all embossed and threatening, accusing me of flagrant disregard for community precedent, demanding the gate come down in 48 hours, or face fines, liens, legal action, you name it. They thought they could scare me with paperwork. Well, turns out they picked the wrong guy. I sent a polite ironclad letter in reply, quoted my deed, attached my survey, color-coded. Everything pointed out that their bylaw about aesthetic continuity applied to mailboxes and lawn gnomes, not security gates on private property. Closed with, Any attempt to harass me will be met with immediate legal action. Oh, and a little kicker. Anyone on my property without written consent will be considered a trespasser. Law enforcement will be involved. Send it certified just to make it official. Things got quiet, but it was the kind of quiet you feel before a storm. Beatrice started driving by, slow Chad, power walking the cul-de-sac like he was training for the HOA Olympics. Some neighbors stopped waving gossip travels fast, and the mean new guy narrative was getting traction. But I did get a few secret allies, like Mr. Henderson, the retired history professor, who whispered, "Don't let her get to you, son." That path was always on Gable's land, and most of us are glad someone's finally standing up. Made me feel less alone. Then the pettiness started: soda cans, dog poop flyers, stuffed in the gate chain. I wasn't rattled. Just upgraded my security, HD cameras, motion sensors, whole 9 yards. That slowed them down for a bit. But with folks like that, you know they're just regrouping. And when the next move came, oh man, they went nuclear. One afternoon, I'm in my office, blueprints spread out, when I catch Beatrice and Chad on camera shaking the gate. Chad fumbling with his phone. Beatrice in a yellow tracksuit looking like a mad bumblebee. Next thing I know, Chad's dialing he'd called the cops. That's right. 2 police cruisers roll up, sirens slicing through the woods. I gather my paperwork, deed survey, camera footage, even printed out their previous gifts. Straighten my tie, walk down the driveway with all the calm of a man who knows he's about to watch his enemies implode. Beatrice launches into her act, accusing me of squatting, blocking public land, waving Chad's phone like it's the Constitution. Officer Jackson, a seasoned pro, looks from me to her to Chad, deadpan as ever. "Sir, we got a report of a squatter illegally barricading access." My eyebrows about hit my hairline. A squatter, I laugh, can't help myself. Beatrice screeches, "He's locked everyone out. We have proof." Chad, right on cue, shoves his phone at the officer, showing a selfie of himself trespassing on my bluff. Officer Jackson doesn't even flinch. "A picture of you somewhere doesn't make it yours, son." Beatrice tries to drop legalese she probably picked up from late-night infomercials, prescriptive easement like she's Perry Mason. I hand over my binder, deed, survey, title, insurance, security cam footage of their harassment. The younger officer looks at Chad and says, "Did you even check this before calling 911? Beatrice starts sputtering, losing her grip. Meanwhile, I'm showing them video of Beatrice tossing trash in the night, Chad's slow, menacing drive-bys. Suddenly, the dynamic shifts. This isn't neighbor drama, it's a false report, documented harassment. And here comes the twist. Officer Miller suddenly lights up. "Hey, aren't you the guy who called us about the Amazon van last month and about those kids with aggressive dunks?" Turns out Chad's been making bogus calls to the cops for months, using them like his personal complaint department. Officer Jackson's had enough, tells them if they ever call 911 for this nonsense again, they're getting cited, period. Beatrice, silenced at last, could only nod. Chad's face went from pink to ghost white. The officers apologized to me and left. Beatrice scurried away like a startled roach, Chad shuffling behind. The whole neighborhood watched as the queen lost her crown. And boy, did that story travel. Mr. Henderson called that night half the street buzzing. My stand kicked off a quiet revolution. Folks who'd been terrified of Beatrice for years, fined for the wrong color mailbox, threatened for bikes in the driveway, suddenly felt brave. The board called an emergency meeting. By week's end, Beatrice was stepping down, Chad resigned, and a new level-headed president took over. The neighborhood eased up, smiles, returned people thanked me in person. As for the Weatherbees, they became ghosts, their red SUV missing from the daily patrol, their power gone. Peace at last. You'd think it ends there, but nah. A fire like that smolders. A couple months pass. I notice strange cars idling at the cul-de-sac, catch Beatrice staring across her yard at my house with a look cold enough to freeze your coffee. Next thing I know, a city inspection notice lands in my mailbox. Anonymous complaint. Long list of supposed code violations. Threats of fines, even jeopardizing my license. It's got Beatrice's fingerprints all over it. But this is my house, built it myself, documented every beam, every inspection, photos, permits, blueprints, everything. I gather it all. And when the inspector shows up, old guy named Donovan, clearly looking to find fault, I meet him with 3 inches of proof. Donovan tries everything, poking holes, measuring slopes, but I've got receipts, signatures, photos for every step. Finally, in my office, I catch a glimpse of the anonymous complaint handwritten on HOA stationery, Beatrice's signature in spiky ink. Not so anonymous now. And tucked in the back of my mind, I'd noticed Donovan's house on the city's map. Big new deck, 0 permits. Turns out Beatrice's son Chad built it, no inspections, no paperwork. I take it all to the city's building director, Ms. Flora's a pro. No nonsense. I lay it all out, binders and photos, a sworn affidavit, even satellite shots of Donovan's deck. She's all business. Promises a full investigation. Next day, city trucks roll up at Donovan's house, measuring tapes out. He's put on leave fesses up to the whole thing. Beatrice pulled strings, Chad did the illegal work, and they'd been covering for each other for years. Now the whole HOA's under review for corruption. My favorite part. Watching the city inspector knock on Beatrice's door, clipboard in hand, while I sipped my morning coffee from the porch. Karma, hot and fresh, served right in the driveway. And that's how one locked gate, a couple stubborn bullies, and a whole lot of paperwork toppled a petty suburban dynasty and cleaned house for good. You tell me, what would you have done? Where's the line between community and control, between standing your ground and turning the other cheek? Drop your stories below. Subscribe. Let me know where you're tuning in from and tell me about your wildest HOA run-in. This is our community now, and here bullies don't win.